Hello, 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 hello. How are you out there today? I'm here with episode 22 of the C Note. Joining me tonight will be Jaki-Terry, a legend in Baltimore, Maryland, and around the nation. I'm your host, Carl Taze Ransom, here at the C Note, where we keep it 100 or 100, as we say here in Baltimore, and the real recognize real. And we also see you fake asses out there too, waiting for Jaki-Terry to come up on here now. I see her. She just popped up right there. All right. She should be coming any second, hopefully, if this thing is working for me tonight. There she go. There she go. Yes, yes.
Let me turn it around.
Yeah, please do, because I only see a wall
Amen.
right now.
How are you, beloved?
How are you, Miss
I can't
Jaki-Terry?
complain. Hey.
A legend in Baltimore. Hey, whoever that is
Uh,
that just joined us. She's a
oh,
legend
that's one
in
of my professors from
Baltimore.
Coppin.
Oh, one of your professors from Coppin. Maybe Miss
Yes,
Amini
sir.
Courts will join us too.
That's Mama Coco. I know who that is.
All right now. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Jaki-Terry here with us tonight. She first made her appearance on the Baltimore poetry scene back in 1992. Shortly thereafter, she
Mhm.
collaborated with other performers in creating a poetic statement against domestic violence with the late Michael, is that how you say his name? Michael Berry?
Michael.
Michael
Michael.
Berry. It's a different spelling.
Hmm.
Okay, Michael Berry. I
I
wasn't
know,
sure.
right?
It's not spelled the normal way. I know how to read,
Mm-mm. It was a
y'all. So
woman,
y'all,
too.
huh? What you say?
It was a sister, too.
Okay. All right. And then 2 years later, the artistic director of the Arena Players saw you and said, I got to have her. And invited you to be in the next production. And it was history from there. You have also won, your poetry has been published in many publications, right? The Black
Hmm.
Voices in 1994, The Pearl, The Sun. There's a Jambalaya magazine, and then the list goes on and on. And you have made appearances in um, plays and films, The Talented Tenth, Shaking the Mess Out of Misery, The Amen Corner. I'm familiar with that one from the
I
Mississippi
know
to
you
the
are.
top, the Crucible. Was that Blood Wedding? And the list goes on
Yeah.
and on. You received your BS in Urban Arts, Speech, and Theater at the Coppin University, and your MFA in Theater and Drama at the University of Wisconsin. And I noticed some more in
Yeah.
there too, but there's, there's a lot. Oh yeah, and you also appeared for Color Girls as well. I can't leave that one out. All right, all
Yeah,
right.
that was my first one. That was my first professional play, actually.
Oh, was it? So which one were
Yeah, it
you?
was. I had did other work, but most of it was experimental theater.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Donald Owens had came to a place that I used to hang out at called
Oh,
Cafe
so
Montage.
I was going to ask
That
you that. I was going to ask you, was he the artistic director back then too?
he was.
Oh,
He
okay, okay,
was.
okay.
So he came in. He had been coming there all along, but when you knew in the game, you and really how it started is I needed a place to read poetry in between looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
So he came in, he had seen some other stuff I had done unbeknownst to me.
Right.
And he just happened to walk up to me this one November in 1993 and said, do you know the works of Ntozake Shange? I said, oh,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Being a poet, other women poets.
Right.
So I said, yeah. He said, what do you know about For Colored Girls? Well, I had seen it already. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So I went. This is when I met Amini officially,
Okay. Okay.
because before then she did Before It Hits Home.
Mm-hmm.
And I had went to see that play like 4 or 5 times. And
Wow. I've never seen it.
my mind was like, how am I going to get to work with this lady? Because she seems like, yeah, she's somebody that can teach me something.
Oh yeah.
So I got cast in For Color Girls as the lady in yellow.
Wow. I was going to ask
And so
you.
my first
Yeah.
professional debut on the stage was in 1994 at Arena Players.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing. So, when exactly did you leave Baltimore? Because you
I
ain't
left
tell
Baltimore in
nobody.
2009. Oh, see, no,
2009.
no, no, no.
You ain't tell
Because they
me.
threw a whole party for me down at UB Blake. No,
Was
folk
I
knew.
there? Was I
I
there?
don't think you were there. I don't think you were there, but it was plenty family there. I know Meekins was there.
Uh-huh.
Tracy Jiggets was there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
Um,
them. Great people.
Robert Hardy was there.
Wow.
Um, it was a whole bunch of a whole bunch of melanin up in the house the day that I announced that I was leaving. I'm gonna put my plugs in because my sister's working and I don't want to be any
Mm-hmm.
interference from what we trying to
Okay.
do. But they threw as a matter of fact, the whole time I was at Wisconsin, every year they had an annual Jaki-Terry Day
What? How
at
did I
UB
not
Blake.
know about that?
I don't know, Calte.
I should have been there because I
You
remember the
sure
last.
should.
I remember one of the last times I think it's one of the last times I saw you. It might not have been the last time, but I remember very distinctly I saw you one night at a callback back in 2006. It was a callback for Pill Hill,
Yes.
and I have an older brother who's an actor, and he was at that talk back as well. I mean, another callback,
Okay.
and nobody knew he was my brother, of course. And I was in the room, and we hadn't seen each other in a few years. And the last time he saw me, I had short hair, and this time in
Okay.
2006 is when I had locks. So he didn't recognize me. And I remember talking. I think I talked to you one night in the car about because I was like upset about some stuff that was going on. But anyway, with me and my brother, how we hadn't talked in a few years or whatever. You probably don't remember any of
Mm-hmm.
that, but yeah. But I met you, was that 97, 96, somewhere around
I
there.
want to say
Um,
96 when we did the Amen Corner.
yeah, that was the first time. It was my my big role, my first big role. I was the new kid on the block. Trying to prove myself. I was nervous as hell, very nervous.
You
But
couldn't tell.
really,
Mm-mm.
you didn't see me shaking like a leaf,
No,
like
child. And I was on stage with you every night. No.
look. Remember that scene where I had to
I ain't
come
see
in?
none of that.
Remember that scene when I had to come in the house as David and I had to pour a glass of Kool-Aid or whatever it was?
Okay.
You didn't see my hand like shaking. I was nervous as heck.
I
I was-
didn't notice. I really didn't notice. I'm telling you, if you were nervous, you did not show it at all.
well, thank you,
At
thank
all.
you,
You just didn't.
thank you. You were Sister Moore, right? Is her name the character's
I
name?
was in that play, but I did the Amen Corner 2 times after that. I did
Hmm.
one run I did at the African Continuum Theater in Washington D.C. in 2002, and I played Odessa.
Okay, okay.
Then I turned back around in 2006 and played Odessa again at Coppin.
Wow. So you
Hmm.
just made me think of the great June Thorne who
Oh
played
my gosh, that
Odessa.
lady.
There's a legend, another legend here in Baltimore, yes. And also
Hmm.
Lorraine Brown too. Rest both of their souls.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely. Wow. And of course, my first experience with Professor Courts was I was only in like one scene. Man, I had a little comedic role, the porter on the train at Oak and Ivy. Um,
You did. That was your first one. But the one that I remember you doing was Blues for an Alabama Sky, baby.
oh, that was in 2006, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I sat second chair to Amini that year. I was at Coppin that year,
And I played Guy Jacobs. Yeah, it was fun. What were you going to say about
baby.
that?
Oh, that one is when I know, like, yes, brother got chops. He going places. I mean, I really appreciate. That's what I'm saying. When you did David, if you were
Hmm.
nervous, Carlton, I ain't
Yeah.
getting none of that. I ain't getting none of that. You cloaked that real good.
Thank you. I was
But
scared. I was scared as shit.
yeah, and I knew it was something else you and I were in. We did do Okanabe together because I was Fanny.
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah. And I was
I was
at
Fanny. I was Dunbar's teacher.
okay, okay,
Hmm.
Michael Caine. I was that crazy porter on the train that had to recite his poetry that he couldn't stand. That gospel
I
poetry.
remember. I remember.
Yeah, that was fun. And then I got to work with, but you wasn't here for that when I was with Mini Courts in 2013. but you've seen clips of that
Mm-mm.
where I played the
I
soldier.
have seen clips. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was here. By the time you did 2013, I was already living in Arizona.
Okay. Wow. Wow. So did you remember any of your poetry? Could you possibly recite like that poem that you were reciting when Mr. Owens first saw you and was like, "We gotta have her at Arena Players."
You know, I don't even know what I did.
You don't remember? You remember any of your poetry?
Mm-mm.
A
I
short poem?
do. As a matter of fact, I'm about to blow Troy off the water because he used this piece in
Hmm.
our Real Nigga show.
Okay.
Okay, and it's called My Way. It's
Okay.
one of my favorite pieces. As a matter of fact, I pissed the professor off when I was
Uh-oh.
at Wisconsin because she was always coming at me about my Baltimore accent.
Right.
And isn't it ironic? Because now people pay money for that accent because it's not one you can just drop into. That it's
That's
not New
true.
York, and it's not Southern.
That's
It's
very true.
Baltimore. It's Baltimore.
Yeah.
So she had a poetry something at some little place in Madison when I was in my first year,
Okay.
and I like shot the line right straight to her because I wanted to understand. First of all, y'all sent for me.
Hmm. Uh-oh.
Second of all, y'all sent for me because I was heading in another direction, and Midwest was not
Minding
it.
your business. Yeah.
Doing me,
Uh-huh.
okay. But
Yeah.
here's the poem.
Okay.
I speak in my own voice. Perhaps not in the tongues of angels, but rather in the ancestors' codex of broken sentences, split verbs, and participles that dangle endlessly on. I own my speech. It's all I have. This gift given to me by the Almighty is my fingerprint, my identity. The double negatives vibe positive science, and my reliance is only what my heart has to say. I talk this way. Zora Neale's wit and Paul Lawrence's imagination visit my wordplay. And while the vernacular makes academia cringe, you hang on to every word I say as I mirror to you a reality and dialect so sweet, even my enemies rise to their feet and testify in the name of Jesus, Geronimo, and the Holy Ghost that truth is a dish best served uncut. It's the ancestors' voice blowing through my veins,
Hmm.
full of fat back, pot liquor, and good hot water cornbread. And after it's
Mm.
all said and done, it's the lullaby in my left ear that my mama always hum whenever I speak in my own voice.
Wow. All right.
She ain't like me after that. We ain't care.
Well,
Thank you.
I don't care either. So
Ah,
I don't
true.
pissed off many of people. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'll be telling the truth though. People don't like the truth.
Yeah.
You hear me? So
That you do. That you do.
but look, I don't got time to be sugarcoat shit. We trying to get really free. We ain't free yet. Still dealing with this stuff.
Mm-mm.
You know, what's going on right now. Something just happened the other day. But here we are. You know.
Yes. Yes. And here we are. Yeah.
Yeah, here we
Yeah. Another
are.
brick in the wall.
I tell you. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking to Troy on Friday, right?
Oh, I'll be in the building.
Oh, will you?
Trust.
Okay.
Yeah, because me and that brother did a lot of good work together.
Hmm.
A lot of good work together. So, yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to come back to visit at some point?
Let me see about what's COVID doing, number one.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
number
yeah.
two, I'm still reserved about this whole COVID shot. Listen, I know
Uh,
it's doing what it's doing, whatever it's doing, but my mind goes back to Tuskegee.
hmm.
For sterilizations. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? The whole experimenting on in the name of OBGYN by doctors who
right.
didn't feel the need to even give us anesthesia while you were taking our body parts,
Hmm.
organ harvesting. It's like we do not have a good relationship with our medical community.
Right.
So it gives pause. And just when I was about to say, let me go ahead and take this one over here, now we got a situation where it's on pause because
You talking
folk
about
are
Johnson and
showing up with,
Johnson?
because
That,
I
that,
was on some, okay, if I had to do it, let's do one and done.
Mm-hmm.
But now you got people who are coming up with blood clots and whatnot. And being that I already have some predetermined conditions,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing to take that kind of chance. So let me see
Well,
how everybody else is gonna fare.
well, you know what? I know they also said that people was turning over blood clots, and some they said that one person died.
Hmm.
Now, with those other vaccines, see, to me, I describe it as being like the luck of the draw or rolling the dice because you don't know how it's going to affect you personally. It affects people in different ways,
Exactly.
and some people have. Not saying that's what it was, but there are cases where some people have taken that other shot, Pfizer or Moderna, and a
Moderna, one
few
of them too.
a few days later, they're dead when they were seemingly healthy before. Um, one of the cases is Hank Aaron. They don't want to admit they're not going to say that that's what killed Hank Aaron, but Hank Aaron was seemingly healthy, and he all of a sudden was dead after taking his shot, and then it was somebody else, and then there's also
I just heard about DMX.
yeah, DMX also. His family is upset.
Yeah.
His family is upset because they say it's not true that he had a drug overdose, that he was not back on drugs. They said that he took that vaccine and then shortly thereafter he got sick and he suffered a heart attack.
See,
Um, you know, but they're trying to cover that up. And then there's also something going around about Mary Wilson, which I was very suspicious when she all of a sudden dropped dead out of the blue. Mary Wilson from the
hmm,
Supremes, because at first it was like they didn't know a cause of death when she first died, um, but now they're saying that she died in her sleep from some heart condition or whatever. But I was talking to a professional journalist friend of mine, and he was like, she did take that vaccine, and they're very suspicious what happened to her too.
see,
So, and I know, and I have friends who have taken it, and I'm not down on anybody who take it, but don't down me for not taking it. I have my own issues
and
for
that's
not
my
taking
piece.
it. Right.
Because my whole thing is this, and I'm old enough to remember when the AIDS crisis came through. You
Hmm.
couldn't get politicians to talk about it. Let's do and move on it.
Hmm.
Look how long it took them before they came up with a cocktail that worked. Look
Right.
how many people died as a result of AZT.
Hmm.
So, I'm like, y'all rolled this one out just a little too fast. Listen, I already have my feelings about how this whole thing came about because in my conspiracy theorist mindset said this was a eugenics experiment to begin with, and it
Right.
went left.
Hmm.
So, that's my position. I stand on it. But y'all rolled this vaccine out mad quick.
Right.
There's been no testing. There's been no FDA approval. We don't know what this is going to do. So I'm,
We're the test.
I'll take my necessary precautions when I'm moving out and about,
Hmm.
but I need some time. I need to
Yeah.
see some time. I need to see some
I
numbers.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm not. And because I'm also skeptical because side effects don't always show up right away. Like I've always said,
And that's my
sometimes
piece.
side effects don't show up for like a few years later or whatever. So I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
and thank you to the ancestors and the creator. I've been okay this whole time. Um, you know, and hey, and I've had my own personal experiences with being in a hospital where they was using me as a guinea pig and basically
Mm-hmm.
trying to kill me, which I've talked about before. So I'm not going to talk about that again.
Yeah, right.
We're going to get back to you, Miss Jaki-Terry, who was in the Talented 10. So
Yeah.
who were you in the Talented 10?
I was Tanya.
Because
I
Bonita.
was Tanya. I was the other woman.
Okay, who was Bonita Gross?
Bonita played Bernard's wife.
Okay.
And it wasn't just Bonita. It was Laura Sly, too.
Oh, because like some of the roles were double cast, and Andre Congo
It
was in it
was.
as well.
Yes, he was.
Okay, because Andre's in Atlanta right now, and
Mm-hmm.
Bonita is out further out in Maryland, like Calverton County or something. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So she finally came back east. Because I
yeah.
heard she was out this way for a minute.
Oh yeah, she was in California for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in California for a while, but back in 2009 or 10, when I shot my first film, the Speak It Real, um, she was in that.
Mm-hmm.
She came here and she was in that, which I do plan on putting that online at some point. the speaker reel that I shot in
Yeah.
2010, and I redid it again in 2017. I'm trying to get that together as well. And then I have,
Okay.
my latest film that I did back in 2019, um, The Eternal Extra, which has been in a few film festivals and won a couple of awards and all that. Yeah, all that. And I'm trying.
Yeah, one of them was down in Durham, wasn't it?
Um, no, they invited me to come to Durham, but they did not. They said they loved my film. It was that it scored high in the festival, well, in the judging process, but they did not accept it in there. Now I'm going to tell you why. Look, they said it was a hard decision, right? And it was more about what the time slots were. And my film is 27 minutes long, and I know that they try to sometimes get the shortest, as many as the shortest films in there as possible. But
Mm-hmm.
I think there was something else behind it, honestly. Between you and me, um, I think it's because my film is unapologetic and it steps on the toes of the status quo. Um, and the sister who's running that festival, I didn't even really notice, but somebody who I was down there with told me that you know she has a Caucasian boyfriend, right?
Mm, okay.
And now this is supposed to be a black festival. She has a Caucasian boyfriend, but the opening film, it didn't celebrate black love. It showed a black woman with this Mexican guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then the closing film showed it was another love story, but it showed a black girl with this um Arab looking dude, right?
Okay.
And so she was like, since at the end of the festival, she's like, since I opened the festival with black and whatever she called it, black and Mexican love, I figured I should close it with black and Asian love because she referred to the Arab guy as Asian, but she didn't show black on black love in this festival. In my film, I'm very intentional about what I show. I show a black man and a black woman together, loving each other, um, and having a healthy
Something you don't
relationship.
see a lot of.
Yeah, so and then in my film, I know there's another part in there that probably steps on some toes because my character is having a nightmare and he's being tortured by the fact that he's allowed some other black people to tell him that his success can only come through white folks, right? And so he's asleep and he's haunted and he keeps hearing this voice saying, "You're still my slave. You're still my slave." Because now he's worried about, being noticed, thinking that his success can only come through quote unquote white America or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
The dominant culture.
yeah, so there's some stuff in that film that may step on some people's toes. So, some of the black film festivals might not let it in because of that, but I'm not here to be a carbon copy of people. I'm here to use my artistry to try to make black people think and to get us to empower, you
A
know.
lot, yeah, I get that, but a lot of probably what that decision making comes down to is funding.
Mm-hmm.
And the dominant culture has a real issue with us not holding them as the protagonists in our stories. We don't need a
Mm-hmm.
rescuer. We don't need a savior. We're perfectly capable and competent in telling our own stories.
Mm-hmm.
And there a lot of folk who are handling the money and are uh, have the power to produce and distribute works.
Yeah.
Pause.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because yeah, it's kind of that whole unapologetic attitude. But I long to see the time when we don't have to depend on them to define us,
I
because
totally
nobody can
agree.
tell our story better than us.
Right.
And I've always been a stand for that.
Yeah, so she invited me down there because she's like, well, if you can make it down here, we love to have you come down, even though, and you could get a all access pass to the festival, you know, because you're about what we represent, which I don't think so, because a lot of these black festivals have Caucasians on their boards, right?
Hmm.
And so they have Caucasians
Because
on
that's
their
the
board,
money power. That's the power
right?
base. It's the
And,
money.
right. And so when they see my film, some of them are probably like, no, we can't have this. Right. Film festival, no matter how good it is, they ain't going to try it. They're not trying to have it in there. So, but
Hmm.
I'm thankful for the festivals that my film has gotten into. and the fact that
Yeah.
my film has won a couple of awards. But I could tell, you pick up on people's energy. And when I was down
Yep.
there, it was the way that she came off. It was kind of condescending. She was like, "Yeah, you keep on doing what you do, keep working at it, right?"
Okay. Yeah,
But
I spent a little
anyway,
time in Durham, so I'm very familiar.
right, and so
Hmm.
because I was down there with two other people. It was a sister who has a documentary about her son who unfortunately committed suicide. That was also in the
Mm.
festival. And I was down there with a friend of mine who's the founder of the Baltimore International Black Film Festival as well. And, she had brought it to my attention, like, well, that white guy that she introduced us to, that was her boyfriend. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, now I see. Right on. I see why. But anyway, what
Hmm.
which one of these are films that you were in? Is Blood Wedding a movie?
Blood Wedding was a play. That was my first play I
Okay.
did my first year in grad school. And I
Hmm.
had two roles in that. I played the mother
Hmm.
of the spurned bride to be, and I also played Death as a beggar woman.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
powerful piece. So I got to step into my poetic side with
Hmm.
that one too, because she had these really beautiful haunting uh lines. The
Yeah.
costuming was done by one of the students at the school, and it was this costuming was just fierce. I mean, they laid me out, baby. They really did. And it was a small role, but
Look,
it was enough to put
I
folk on notice that I came there to put in work.
I've had this conversation before. Ain't no such thing as a small role. If you got it,
Hello.
you can take that role and make people take notice. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely. And I know you. You gonna make somebody take notice. All right.
Yeah.
So which one of these are films? Because you didn't specify between the films and the play.
I did Absolute Power with Clint Eastwood back in '97. I
Okay.
did 2 episodes of Homicide, and
Mm-hmm.
I did a couple of indie films
Can
with a
any
couple of independent artists in Baltimore. Yeah,
can any of those be found online now?
probably not. Probably
Okay.
made. They're probably still in the can.
Dang. Never see the light of
Mm-hmm.
day except for homicide.
Nah.
Except for
Yeah. Well,
homicide.
homicide. I would love to. I would love to find two of those episodes. Her sister found the second episode I did where I played a Jamaican national.
Hmm. Well, you
But the first one I did, I haven't seen it. Somebody
okay?
has it though.
Yeah, I've never seen that recording of the Amen Corner. I heard that there is one out there with me in it as David. I would love to see that, but I've never gotten to
They don't
see
have
that.
it at. They don't have it at the Playhouse.
I was trying to find out from Donald Owens, but not. I don't think they have it down there. Somebody was telling me
If
somebody
Donald doesn't have it, you think David will be able to find the archives? Because he found a lot of stuff in archives.
who David Mitchell.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, possible.
Or Kwame, because wasn't Kwame the director on that?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I was directed by him recently again back in 2019, and
Oh, okay.
and God's Trombones. It,
Oh,
it
nice.
it was God's Trombones. I was the prodigal son, right? And the way he set it up was that it was going over different passages of time periods,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I think where I was because it starts off like during slavery time, right? And so you have us out there, and they actually had cotton on the stage, right? Real cotton,
Ooh.
picking cotton and
Yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Now you know me, right? Because he said you got to develop your own characters and stuff. What kind, So well, you know me, right? I wanted to, I wanted to be a rebellious slave, and I had this big old knife in my hand, to chop the cotton.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was on stage making people uncomfortable. I had this knife in my hand, and I kept looking back towards where we came from, where we first make our entrance, like coming from the plantation or
Mm-hmm.
the field. And I kept looking backwards, like I'm looking at the big house where the slave owner is. And I had this knife in my hand. I was looking at this knife and looking back at the house like I was plotting. like I was plotting to slip.
Yeah,
Like,
well, you know,
and so
the story that they won't tell.
yeah, and so he had a lot of Caucasians that came to see that play, and I know that some of them probably was like, "What is he doing up there?" You know, that made them nervous. So he was like, because at first he was like, "Yeah, I like that, I like that, I like the characterization," but I made some people nervous, so I had to,
Yeah, a whole knife sitting on stage, and it wasn't a prop. It was a real knife.
look.
But I did God's trombones twice.
Oh, did you? Yeah, me
First
too.
time I did it, first
Hmm.
time I did it down at UMES.
Okay.
And then the second time I did it, Troy did it. Troy and Meekins did an adaptation, God's trombones, jump and shout.
Hmm. Wow. Okay.
And I played the storyteller who traveled all around the world, and everybody had a story.
Wow.
So I had different costume changes, and I think we did that one in '98 or '99, just before we did the drum.
So that was I've heard of the drum. I've never got to see that.
Whoa, well, Troy's your source for that one.
And yeah, and Katrina. Well, I Katrina actually was who played my mother back at the Avon Corner. We were in Ain't Misbehaving together back in 2018, a couple
I
years
can see
ago.
that. I definitely can see that.
I had fun with Ain't Misbehaving because I got to step out of myself a lot more because you remember Devron
Oh yeah,
from the
Devron
youth
Young.
theater? Yeah, from the
Oh
youth theater.
yeah,
Well, yeah, he directed this. And so I was like, I would like to have a chance to play that role because it's different for me. And so I got to play
stretch.
I got to play the Andre the Shields part. So
Nice.
I had to sing the Reefer song and gyrate my hips and gyrate my hips and things. I had fun with that. Somebody came to the show and it was like, "You sure you was just acting up there? You look like you was um uh a natural with that joint." I'm like, "I was acting because I don't look. I mean,
Okay,
I don't knock anybody that smokes. I mean, I have friends that
that's
smoke,
just not your thing.
but I don't smoke it. But I was having fun
Yeah.
up there in character, thinking about that 5 feet long reefer.
Tag, was it that long?
That's
Wow.
the song. I dreamt about a reefer 5 foot long.
That's right.
I had fun with that. That was a whole lot of fun, definitely. But I wish some of your films were online because I would like to see that. Did you ever get a chance to do The Wire?
I never went up for it.
You never went up for
During
The
that
Wire?
time, I was crazy, crazy busy. During the time that the Wire was going on, I was deep in the throes of learning the craft at copping.
Okay.
And yeah, so I stayed busy. So and between that, and I was also teaching. I was doing after school
Right.
programs. So yeah,
Oh
I never
yeah.
got a
You
chance to.
go ahead.
So I never got a chance to really go up for the Wire. And by the time I was ready and I thought prepared to take it to the next level, the year before I graduated from Wisconsin, that was the last season.
Oh wow. Okay. So you work with Mama K, the Mama K Lawal
Oh
from
yes sir, yes
Moonwork
sir.
Productions, New World. Yeah.
Moonwork, New World On Ensemble.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, I interned with them in my fourth and fifth, because I was at Coppin for 5 years.
Hmm.
Guilty with an explanation because me and algebra had a problem, and I was determined. We did, man.
You were
But I was
algebra.
determined I was gonna master that one. I was
It
not gonna
was,
let that defeat me.
yeah, I'm not.
So,
Yeah, I'm not a big math person either. I know how to count my money though, but I
hello.
I know what it counts. Yeah, but all that other stuff, nah. But I remember coming to see you. You were in the Amen Corner at Coppin.
I played Odessa.
No, no, not yet. Not that. No, I didn't see
Was
you in the
it?
Amen Corner. I'm talking about
It was.
a Raisin in the Sun. That's what I meant
It
to
was
say. A
Raisin in the
Raisin in
Sun
the
because that was
Sun.
the last. That was the last play I did before I graduated.
Yeah, I remember coming to see you in a Raisin in the Sun. Um, and you were phenomenal as
Oh,
always.
thank you. That was a good role. Opening night, Woody King and Douglas Turner Ward.
I'm not
came
familiar
and
with
sat
them.
on the front row. Douglas Turner wrote A Day of Absence.
Okay. All right.
And Woody King is the founder of the New Federal Theater in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So Professor Hyatt would have him come down on a regular, and I don't think that brother realized how much he got my head ready for the next level I was going to. Because
Mm-hmm.
he said something to me that stayed with me throughout my experience at Wisconsin. It was like, don't be afraid to bring your blackness to the stage.
Right. I like that.
And that rested on my heart because the challenges that I was going to meet at the graduate level, I had never experienced that level of microaggressive racism in my whole life.
Mm.
So I was absolutely unapologetic about who I was and what I
Right.
brought to the stage and what I brought to the craft,
Mm-hmm.
even when they tried to break me.
Hmm.
You know, I
So,
always found a way to bring dignity to whatever character I played.
so when you were at this University of Wisconsin, they tried to break your spirit?
Well, I was the only African American cohort in the MFA program, the
Ooh.
only African American female.
Okay. So there,
So,
how many brothers was
so
there?
one, and well,
So y'all are matching set, one of each allowed.
what
One
we
black
had
man.
me, him. There was a Mexican brother, and there was an Asian brother,
Okay.
and they basically ran him out of the program.
Who, the Asian?
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Because the first year we had to do kabuki theater.
Okay.
And in his mind, he figured once he did kabuki theater, what was left for him.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish he had stayed because him doing that kabuki theater made it okay for other students of Asian descent to come through and tell story.
Right.
It validated him. So I don't think he realized the doors that he opened. Him and I still are in touch. He's in Maryland
Mm-hmm.
now. Him and I are still in touch. He was my backbone my first year. He really was, because I had no other allies.
Mm-hmm. So what type of things did they do to try to run you away or give you a hard time?
Um, let's start with everybody else had to come to the school
Mm-hmm.
and audition, or they had to come to some conference and audition. I auditioned online. As a matter of fact, my auditions are still on YouTube. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So when you see me, you know, I've always been a thick sister.
Yeah.
I've been wearing locks for over 30 years. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the first things they wanted to do was for me to cut my locks. I'm like, y'all knew who I was before I came,
Right.
so that's not an option.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the beginning of it.
Okay.
So the first year, of course, that spring, that fall, I played In Blood Wedding. The second semester, they claimed they didn't have any roles for me. So my kabuki instructor, who is first generation Japanese American,
Mm-hmm.
said, well, I need you to do kabuki. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know anything about dreadlocks. We're going to have to love each other through it.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up being my saving grace.
Okay.
Um, and I think the reason why he chose me is because having studied martial disciplines before that, I
Mm-hmm.
understood the concept of kabuki in terms of movement.
Right.
So when it came to the dance, the actual dance of kabuki, I was one of the better students. So he cast
Mm.
me in
All
that
right.
role, in a role he played in a role he played in.
Huh?
So he sent to Japan and got my kimono, all my undergarments. He asked
Mm-hmm.
me what kind of makeup I wanted to do. I said, I want to do traditional
Right.
Japanese makeup. I want to respect the culture. We figured out a
Mm-hmm.
way what to do with my hair and all of that. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I would do before we would open up for the show, of course, you know, you got to walk the stage. That's part of the, you know, the process when
Right.
you're getting ready for a show, because you got
Mm-hmm.
to have a sense of your space.
Yes.
We would take out our fans because kabuki does a lot of fan work, and I would ask him, Sensei, come dance with me. So our opening to the show every night, from opening night to closing night, is we would play the music, and him and I would fan dance together.
Hmm.
And that was my way of getting my head ready for the show. So
Right.
opening night, whole audience, Japanese Americans. And I'm
Okay.
thinking, Ja, let me represent these people correctly. I don't want nobody misrepresenting my culture. I don't want anybody misrepresenting or making a caricature of anything that I represent.
Right.
So let me not be that. So,
Okay.
it ended up being, oh, okay. So the third semester, I did a nice play. It was that fourth semester that they decided that I needed to be the maid, and you can't take it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh, I was hot
They
because
made
I
you the
couldn't
maid,
turn the play down.
huh?
Yeah, I couldn't turn the play down because I am a theater major.
Right.
I had to find my space
Mm-hmm.
where I could dignify this role. So I'm all the ancestors: Hattie McDaniel,
Mm-hmm.
Butterfly McQueen,
Right.
Teresa Brown, all the actors unknown and unknown. And I was like, and my mother, because my mother was a domestic
Okay.
and she used to work in white people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to find the presence of mind to be present in this and give the role some dignity. Now, what they did to not make it look away was
Mm-hmm.
they sent to St. Louis for a black director,
Okay.
to direct the piece.
Mm-hmm.
So he promised me, he said, I promise you, if you trust me, I'm not going to have you looking buffoonish in this piece. And true to his word, he didn't.
Okay. Well, I'm glad they brought a brother in to direct
But
you.
hold up. Here's where the thunder came.
What?
The entire Black Student Union at Wisconsin showed up and was sitting in the audience one night doing question and answer. And one of the sisters from the BCU stood up and said, I really need to understand how y'all, with the only African American female cohort in this whole MFA program, you got this sister walking across the parade shuffling watermelon. I need somebody to explain.
Woo. Mm. And so what happens?
Nobody had words.
Nobody had an
I
explanation
was
for that,
I
huh?
was I was I was interested to see what folk had to say myself, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
No, me too.
okay, you can't explain it to me, explain it to me.
Right.
Because out of all the plays y'all could have picked, y'all picked this one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to give you some background, Andre DeShields also went to
Oh,
UW-Madison.
wow. Okay.
He did not graduate because he said he wanted to leave before they had him playing the boyfriend of the maid, and you can't take it with you. 50 years later, they bring this play back up, and who's playing the maid? The irony is, when he won the Tony for Helltown,
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden everybody's proud of Andre DeShields. I'm like, y'all get that brother the blues.
Right.
Y'all literally ran Lorraine Hansberry off the campus
Andre DeShields,
because
another
according to y'all,
Baltimorean, by the way. We're going. So.
hello, can we say that? And let me mention another one because brother, the brother that just passed in Baltimore, I cannot think of his name right now, and that's a shame.
He just
Mamas,
said,
one of y'all help me out. Zaracody, Baba Zaracody. I just
oh,
found out when I was reading because I found out that he went to Wisconsin back in the 60s.
what?
So if it was hard,
What?
yeah. So if it was hard for me
What's
in
with you black folks
2009 to
trying
two,
to? I'm going back with
because
you.
they be
I'm like,
sending
I'm,
for us.
I'm like, why you black folks want to be surrounded by all them white people? I can't do it, but go on.
And trust, bruh, that was not a choice. That was not a choice. And I
Right.
would not have chose to be in such a hostile environment.
Mm-hmm.
But what kept me in it was what Woody had told me before I left.
Right.
And that stayed on my heart constantly. My sister, who would send during the semester breaks, was like, girl, come down here, get some sun and some time on the couch. So she kept my head straight.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I had a really, really supportive Black Student Union who was like, nah, y'all ain't carrying out girl like that. Nah, mm-mm. So yeah, so it was a lot of little microaggressive things like body shaming
Mm-hmm.
and um,
You.
belittling the fact that I went to an HBCU. But it's odd because I carried a 3.9 GPA through the whole experience
Mm.
out of a possible 4. So if I
Look
went
at
to this
you.
inferior
Right.
school, how am I competing with y'all?
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So it was a head
Well,
game. It was a real head game. So my job was to make sure that they didn't steal my soul. But bruh,
hmm
it,
it,
it was a lot of debriefing after I left.
oh, I know it had to be. It had to be because
It's a lot of debriefing after I
look,
left.
look, I can't bite my tongue that much. Anyway, even though I do, I can't with them. I'm sorry. I go,
But
I got
coming home often made a difference.
right.
Because I would get what I needed, from my
Hmm.
community.
Yeah.
Um, Having my sister on speed dial was
Hmm.
definitely a plus because she like, it's gonna have you, it's gonna have you. She kind of kept my head in it and
Right.
focused on what I was there to do.
Hmm.
And the other part in the back of my mind is y'all sent for me.
They sent for
I
you.
had not, y'all sent for me because and I got what I needed because part of my acting discipline is theater for social, cultural, and social awareness.
Hmm.
So I learned social justice pedagogies on top of that, which is
Right.
what I went there for, so that I
Hmm.
could come back home and work with groups like Young Audiences of Maryland,
Okay.
Room Work. I was ready to come back and work with Room Work. I was ready to come
Oh
back to
yeah.
Coppin to teach.
Yes.
I
I
need
got
that
yeah.
component so I can come back home and do my work in the community, which I was already doing.
Hmm.
So the
Yeah. You.
blessing is, what I came to get, I did come to get.
Wow.
But it came with a
Hey,
price.
it came with a
It
price.
came with a heavy
It
price.
came with a price. One I don't think I'm willing to pay. But
No,
so kudos to
no.
you.
I would never send nobody there
Cause
not to
I,
deal with
cause
that.
I be the smack one of them. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know,
I know.
I done been through
I
too much.
know.
I can't deal with that. But yeah, I got an opportunity to finally work with Mama K back in 2018. We did the Amen Corner.
Yes,
Um
y'all did. I remember that.
yeah, through my theater company, Royal Who's Melanin Manor, which if you ever do come back here, we're gonna have to get you in a production with Royal Who's Melanin Manor.
I'm about that life. You
Definitely.
know me.
Yeah, but I got to play opposite her, and she likes to cut up. She had me laughing and everything. Because she played Lena and I was Walter. That was a role I always wanted to play, and I got to play it. And it was a different cast this time around because everybody was busy, even though they wanted to do the play again. Because we had an amazing cast when we did it in November 2018. So I would
I
like to get
remember that. That was one of them times I wish I had could have came home.
right. Did you
To see that because you
you
don't
saw
get
the
to see Mama
reviews?
K often on stage.
Yeah. She wore it out. She was really great as Lena.
Oh, she ain't. She is not to be trifled with at all,
Right,
at
right.
all.
But we played well off of each other. She had me cracking up, right? She had me cracking up because I'm gonna go in because I believe acting is becoming. It's not just acting. You have to become that character. And
You're
some
right.
people some
As
people
I
came
kind of share that philosophy.
yeah, so some people came to see the play and it was like, I didn't see you up there. I didn't see Carl
You're not
Taser play. It was
supposed
like, "No,
to.
you're not supposed to." And Mama K was messing with me, right? Because it was like one of those like really emotional scenes and stuff, and I was like really in it. And when we came on stage, and she said, "Your ass better not be trying to outact me, right? Don't be trying to
That
outact
sounds
me."
like something she would say. That sounds like something she would say.
Yeah, she had me cracking up. I love her to death. She's doing something virtual on it's like this little meeting. Uh, is it this Saturday? Or is this
I know she's
coming
doing so
Saturday?
with New World Art Ensemble on the weekends, and I have conflicts on the weekends,
Hmm.
but I really need to drop in, if
It's
for
some.
no other reason,
It's a
just to see
discussion.
what they're doing
Right.
because yeah, she
It's a
does some really
discussion.
Woomwork does some cutting
Hmm.
edge work, and they
Oh yeah,
always have.
most definitely. It's a powerful organization. I was honored to be
Mm-hmm.
joint with them and everything. Totally. So
Yeah.
before we get into what you've been doing, if you've been doing anything artistically lately, since over the past several years in Phoenix, Arizona is where you at now. You
Mm-hmm.
you also got something else going on where you be like making a brother hungry and things, but I can't get to it. Making all these scrumptious looking pastries and cakes and things, I'm like
Yeah.
so you don't have anything prepared right now to show people, but you have.
I don't, but I do have something. I have some stuff I can show you.
Okay, so if y'all want to
And
place
it's a
some order,
story with it.
okay, so if y'all want to place some orders and have some cakes and pastries shipped
Hold
from
up.
Arizona,
That's one of them.
can y'all see that? I see it. The people that's watching, who else see it?
That is my mother's orange pound cake.
Okay.
And actually that's how the whole baking thing started.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you some briefing, my mother has advancing dementia.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear
Um,
that. Mm-hmm.
and I, it was a brand new experience to learning how to be with her.
Right.
And so I had to come into it blank slate. Like, matter of fact, the first time I had saw her after I hadn't seen her for like 9 years, I walked into her room. She was at a nursing home at the time, and she was like, she didn't know me.
Wow.
She did not recognize me. So I had to check down all of that. Like, this ain't personal. Just
Yeah.
be in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Jah give me the strength so I can be present.
Yes.
So she's like, well, what's your name? I said, my name's Lorraine. How you
Mm-hmm.
doing? Shook her hand.
Right.
And she's like, I got a daughter named Lorraine. I said, so I hear.
Oh wow. Wow.
So she said, matter of fact, you look like my daughter. I said, I get that a lot.
Oh my God.
So we went through this progression before it finally hit her.
Yeah.
She said, are you my big girl? I said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I am. When'd you get
Ooh.
so gray? I was like, okay. So I had to walk out the room,
Yeah.
have a good cry. I had to G up. I had to G up. It's
Yeah, be
like,
a G. Right.
I gotta be a G because that's mom. And whatever I'm feeling, I can't.
Yeah.
My mother's very empathic. So if I'm feeling something, she's gonna feel
She's
it
gonna feel it
too.
too. Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, this can't affect her. I gotta be present. So I got my little boo-hoo out, came on back in the room. I spent the night with her, my first night.
Right.
So as time progresses, I came back home in 2018 to spend a month with her so that my sister Rachel and my brother Butch could take a break.
Right.
And as we're in the kitchen and we're talking, I said, Ma, I need that recipe for that orange pound cake.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother has her lucid moments. So this is one of them moments where she gave me the recipe, but she didn't give me all of it.
Right.
So I struggled with the I struggled with the recipe. I finally figured out
You
what the
had to
combination
improvise with the
was to
rest
work.
of it. Yeah.
And then I had some really good girlfriends here that are like, yeah, this tastes good. Nah, this one not so much. But when I finally hit it and I tasted it for myself, I'm like, this is my mama cake. So I called her and let her
Right.
know I know what ingredients you left out. And in one of her lucid moments, she said, you stood at my side too many years watching me to make this cake for you not to know how to do it.
All right. That's what
And
Mama said.
I had to get low. I had to
Mm-hmm.
get low. I had to
Mm-hmm.
get low because she was not lying. I watched her
Right.
make this cake. Now, how is it I know how to do all her other recipes, but I
Mm-hmm.
missed that one?
Right.
So that was her little shame on you. You know better. I taught you better.
All right.
So, and she was real clear about what she was saying. So I had to get low. I had to
Mm-hmm.
get low. I was like, Mama, you right. Yes, ma'am. So
Oh.
I made this cake. Then I
Uh-huh.
said, let me find some other Big Mama cakes. Because that's my name of my business is called Jackie's Gems. So I
Okay.
started looking up other cakes, like
Mm-hmm.
cakes that my grandmother used to make,
Mm-hmm.
cakes that my aunties used to make,
Right.
layer cakes,
Mm-hmm.
different kinds of pound cakes, different
Right.
combinations on cakes.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my girlfriends said, girl, you need to go into business with this. So 6 months after I had perfected how to make that cake, it just took off. I
Wow.
did not see that coming. It just started off as me wanting to hold on to my family legacy.
Mm-hmm. So do you have a
And it ended
page?
up,
So do you have a page specifically for
I don't have
Jackie
a
Jim?
separate page.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a separate page. It's all on my Instagram page. And my Instagram page is jaki-terry 0813.
Mm-hmm. But that I think that would be a good idea to get also add on another page. I got like 4 or 5 Instagram pages with the different projects I'm working on. But I think it would be a good idea for you to have a separate page, Jackie's Gems, where you just, you know,
Just showcase my work. Yeah.
showcase your work.
So that's a good thought. So
Yeah.
in the meantime, I am COVID shut down a lot of stuff because I
Hmm.
was ready to get, my food handler certificate for the state, get licensed to do my work from the state. I had worked out all my shipping arrangements and whatnot. So all the little ducks are in a row.
Right.
But it's like now that the restrictions are starting to lift somewhat in the state, I can
Hmm.
move forward and do the stuff I need to do to make it a legitimate sole proprietorship. So
Hmm.
so that was my creative outlet in the
Right.
midst of not being able to read scripts, audition, all the other stuff that I'm normally used to doing in the
Mhm.
name of doing what we do.
Right.
And it's interesting because the same processes engaged in place. Because baking, like acting, is about process.
Right. Hmm. Oh, yeah.
So it's like I got to keep that part of that whole creative side of me active. So when I'm baking and when I'm reading and studying scripts, the same wheels are turning. Process. It's always process. It's always process. So yeah,
So yeah, definitely you need to get that page set up for Jackie's Gems and showcase all those beautiful desserts and stuff. Be making me hungry and
that
things.
sounds like
And
something I need to get on right away.
yeah,
Yeah.
you should because I was like, you was like posting these pictures. I'm like, I want that. You were like, you were like,
And let me tell you something, the shipping piece was working for a minute.
mm-hmm.
It was really, really working for a minute. And then after the election, it was like the mail just screeched to a
Wow.
halt. So
Hmm.
where I would go to the post office and get a guaranteed 2-day, 3-day ship,
Yeah.
if I shipped out between Monday and Wednesday, now I'm
Hmm.
hearing horror stories about people not getting their stuff until a week later, and cakes are fragile. Now I'll do my
Yeah.
part and ice them
Hmm.
down and make sure that they're packed so that they don't,
Hmm.
get destroyed in the process of the shipping.
Right.
But I can't have a cake sitting out there past 3, 5 days because what's going on? I'd run the risk of making somebody sick or them not getting a quality product,
Right.
and my business has ceased before I even got it off the ground. So
Mm.
until they fix that piece,
Right.
my stuff stays local
It has to
now.
be local for now. Well,
It for
hopefully,
now, but it's still getting done.
yeah, because you can see. Well, look. I can't be I can't be eating whole cakes and things. So you have to make a mini cake for me.
Actually, I have some. I have some little 6-inch joints, and I
Okay,
do
cool.
different kinds of breads. Hold up, let me
Hmm.
pull up one. Hold up.
Okay.
Yeah, because I stretched out and tried some stuff with that too.
Yeah.
And here's one. Here's one I did for an anniversary gift for a friend.
Okay.
That's a vanilla anniversary cake with vanilla buttercream frosting and mixed berries.
Nice. All right.
Um,
All right.
Let me see. I have another one that I did
Oh,
for a
that's
groom's
pretty.
cake.
Hmm.
This one. And the
Nice.
groom's wife requested his wife requested that I make this cake because he loved chocolate.
Hmm.
So it's chocolate all the way through.
I like
So,
chocolate
and
too,
that's a
but I'm
6-inch cake. It's a 6-inch cake. So I do make smaller cakes.
right. I was being bad for a second. I was saying I like chocolate too, but I wasn't talking about cake. But I do like chocolate cake too, but I was talking about something else. Anyway.
Shut your mouth. We gonna keep this PG. We got children on here,
Oh,
okay?
are there children on here? Who got children on here?
Yeah. A couple of my friends from here.
Oh, okay.
They
All
decided
right.
to pop in. As a matter of fact, one of them made a comment about a chocolate cake that I made for their family.
Mm-hmm.
And let me know it was really good. It was this one.
Okay, I'll behave. I won't. I won't be obligated.
Yeah,
I'll
but
save that. I'll save that for Friday with Troy. Anyway.
I'll be tuning in, sir.
Well, he already said, he's going to share some of his experiences and his wisdom, and I know he has a lot of wisdom. And he said he may
Oh
even talk,
yes.
and he said he may even talk some trash. And I'm like, please do, please talk some
It
trash.
wouldn't be Troy if he didn't. It wouldn't be Troy if he didn't.
So what is the last
Truly.
role what's the last time that you actually were on stage before all of this happened? This.
I did 2 plays here. I did a lot of Readers Theater since I've been here.
Hmm.
And I've been working with a sister from Pennsylvania who's now here called Gray Matter Productions. So I did 2 plays while I was here, and I did a lot of Readers Theater with her.
Right.
And I'm always reviewing scripts with her because I like the work she does. She does a lot of history plays, and she does a lot of 10-minute productions, and she works extensively with a local theater here. So I did um, in 2015, I did a piece called March, which dealt with
Okay.
the women behind the March on Washington in
Right.
1963. So in that one, I got to play 2 people. I got to play Rosa Parks, and I got to play Dr. Dorothy Height.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a
So the next year we did,
that school that's
huh?
right. That school that's right here on Linden. Well, I shouldn't be giving where I live at. Anyway, I ain't even telling all that on here. But there's a school in the
Well, if you
vicinity.
don't know Baltimore, you don't know, but I know where you be at.
Well, but there's some crazy people that be on here. But anyway, no, that school that's in my neighborhood that was once called John Eager Howard.
Mm-hmm.
They renamed it. They tore it down and they rebuilt it, and it's now called Dorothy Heights Elementary.
Okay.
Even though they may have changed, tore it down and rebuilt it and named it after a black woman, but there's a lot of gentrification going on around here.
It's a whole bunch going around where you at. A whole
Yeah,
bunch.
yeah, too much of
Mm.
it. But
Loud and
so
clear, I hear you.
um, I'm looking forward to us all being able
Oh,
to
the
do
second play I did was called Hour of Decision by the
our
same sister.
our vision,
Hour of Decision. Uh-huh.
our decision. What was that about?
Yeah, and that was it dealt with the integration of Central High School in Little
Oh,
Rock,
okay.
Arkansas.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm familiar with that
So
story.
I was the maid to Daisy Bates, which I did not mind. This role I did not mind because
Hmm.
Daisy Bates is a black woman too,
Hmm.
and our argument was generational.
Okay.
And because I grew up in that era, I
Right.
was able to tap into that controversy where the young people are moving forward. They're
Hmm.
ready to take this whole voting rights thing forward, this whole integration of public schools forward.
Yeah.
And because I'm an older woman, I'm stuck in my era like, oh, well, let's not shake the boat
Right.
until the ladies from one of the welcoming committees
Hmm.
decided she needed to come in and interject her 2 cents that basically we need to stay in our place. She wrote it very well. And
Okay.
of course, there was a transition at the end where I understood why Daisy Bates had to take the position that she took.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. And that was a powerful piece. But other than that, I did a lot of writing for different organizations and uh, um, different
And
pieces of plays. I've done I was able to use my degree in social justice methodologies
mhm.
in areas of youth advocacy, and I
I
worked
was,
for a little bit of
I was
time
about
for
to
the
ask you
Arizona
that.
Department.
Yeah. I was
I
about to
worked
ask
for
you
a
if you're
little bit
still
of
working with
time.
youth. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I worked for a little bit for the Arizona Department of Child Protective Services. And
Okay.
then it was around that time that I was like, yeah, it's time for me to stretch out and do my own thing. And like I said,
Hmm.
right around the time when I started reading scripts and like, I think I'm ready to jump back in and get my feet wet and all of that and all of that. Then here come COVID. So
Mm.
I still, as an actor, I still do the work. I
Right.
still study scripts. I still
Hmm.
study film. Um, I'm real big on scene study.
Yeah.
I'm real big on script analysis.
Hmm.
All the tools. I'm real big on keeping my voice in check. I've done some voiceover work
Right.
in that time because you still got to keep your chops up whether you're
Oh
working or
yeah.
not.
Most
You
definitely.
know, and an
Yeah.
actor's work and an actor's job, you always working, even when
Hmm.
you're not working.
Right. I
So,
totally agree. I've been definitely doing that. I've done actually a couple of readings online since this whole thing started. Haven't done one in a few
hmm
months, but I'm still like keeping myself up on working on monologues and stuff like that. And I've been writing too, of course. I'm trying to put everything together to shoot my next film,
hmm
hopefully in the next couple of months. I mean, I have a cast right now, except for I need two children and I have to recast one of the other roles. Um,
hmm
but I'm trying to get this thing shot. It's supposed to be shot hopefully in June or July. I'm trying to pull all that together
Okay.
now. Yeah, totally. You are awesome, Jackie
Oh,
Terry.
thank you for
For no
having
reason.
me.
You sing too, right? I
I
think I
sing a
remember
little
you
something.
singing.
What did
Did,
I sing? I think you saw
did,
me. You didn't see me in the drum?
no, but didn't you sing in? Did you sing in the Amen Corner?
As part of the choir, yeah. Because remember, I
Oh,
was in the
okay,
choir at the top of the show.
right. I thought I somewhere I heard you sing, not in the background.
Um,
Okay,
I was. Did you see us when we did from the Mississippi Delta? We had to come out singing "Trouble in Mind."
I probably that's what it is. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. It's been so
So,
much.
I play at singing, and of course, when I did Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, I definitely had to sing
Oh
Black Bottom.
yeah. See, I meant to bring it up too because I didn't even know you did my Maz Rainey Black Bottom. Who told me about that is Alexis Skinner. Alexis Skinner.
Okay, yeah, because
Ale
she
yeah,
came to St. Louis to see me. We
yeah.
spent the day together.
Because she told me just recently, a couple of weeks ago, we were on the phone, and she said, "You want to talk about phenomenal on stage? You should see Jackie as Ma Rainey." And
Uh,
I wish I had seen that. I wish I had seen that.
Now that one I have on DVD. That one I do have on DVD.
Ooh, I want to see
hmm
that.
I definitely have it on DVD. I do.
I want.
So
Too
we
bad that's not
we
on
got to figure
YouTube.
out
I
how
want
we
to see
gonna
that.
make that happen. We got to figure out how
Yeah.
we gonna make that happen. But
Well,
yeah, and I have both of them. I had the one I did at Wisconsin because that was my master's. It was part of my master's dissertation. It's
okay. Well,
half of my master's dissertation was performance, and the other one was written.
okay.
So for all the nonsense I put up with, my reward, if there's to be called anything, was I got to play Ma Rainey.
And what year was
And
this?
that was my last year at Wisconsin, 2012.
Okay.
And as a result, I ended up going to St. Louis because the person who was supposed to pay Ma Rainey at the St. Louis Black Rep dropped out. So the same brother that
Oh.
directed me in You Can't Take It With You
Mm-hmm.
called up to Madison and said, wait a minute, y'all doing Ma Rainey? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
send that sister on down here. So I closed on a Sunday, and Tuesday I was in St. Louis to rehearse with um oh shoot, Ron Connor, who played a serious Cutler. Antonio
Mm.
Far, I mean, no, he played Levy. Antonio Fargas, who was a really jammer to work with.
Huggy Bear?
Um, Huggy Bear. Him and I hung out for 8 weeks.
Wow.
Huggy Bear.
All
I got
right.
pictures.
I
Matter of
want to
fact,
see
and on
those.
my
Huh?
yes, I got pictures. I have a promotional picture of him, me, and Ron Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Promoting the show in St. Louis. And of course I got pictures of me doing the show.
Wow. Well, I saw my Rainey. First time I saw it was like back in 2011.
2002.
Hmm.
You saw it in 2000 because remember when Winona played Ma Rainey in 2002?
Was that that? What that was? That's what that was?
I was her understudy. I was
Okay.
her understudy. I was her
Okay.
understudy. And I
Okay.
only had
But
one show because you know a meanie when you're understudy, you only get one show unless the actor gets sick, the main actor
2002.
gets
No,
sick.
okay. Yeah, I know. But
Because Sean Yos played Levy.
I don't know who that is. Sean Yos. I think I
Uh,
heard her name, but
he writes for the Afro now.
okay. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think Archie was in it. He played Slow Drag.
Hmm.
And who played Cutler? I'm trying to remember. Um, oh gosh, I see his face just as good, and I cannot call his name. But oh, there go my nephew.
Yeah,
But oh, what was in that? Bernard. What was Bernard's last name?
I don't know.
He was an older man, but he
uh,
played Toledo.
okay. I I
But
saw
yeah, but I
I
was Winona Rock's understudy.
okay. I do remember her. Yeah, that was 2002. Okay.
It was
Um.
2002. Because
I
right after that, I went to DC to do the Amen Corner again.
oh, who were
That
you
was my
that?
second time.
Who were you that time?
I was Odessa. I was Odessa. The
Oh,
last two
okay, that
times I
time.
did it, I was Odessa.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I did see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom again, like in Fells Point, like in 2011, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Um, and Archie was in that one too. And I don't remember the woman who I don't know her who played Ma Rainey, but my brother Jerome Bay, my big brother
Okay.
Jerome Bay was in it, and he wore that role out. I want to play that role. I got to play
Who'd
that
he
role.
play?
He played Levy, and
Levy is a complicated brother to
well,
play.
yes, I know, and I'm complicated mentally.
You got you time enough for it though. I could see you playing Levy. I could really see you playing Levy.
Yeah, because
I could see it.
I'd have been through some shit. Yes, I could. I could remember that.
Levy was a hard part. There's one piece in the play
And
where
my
there's
brother,
I notice any black actors who have any sense of God consciousness really struggle with it, and
right?
that's the
I
piece
understand.
where he challenges God.
Yeah, and he has to
So
come.
I never got a chance to ask Mr. Wilson why he was still alive. What was his struggle with that?
Oh, he played
I
that.
remember when I did meet him the one time that I did at the National Black Theater Festival, I asked him, um, why didn't he write plays for women? He said, because nobody's writing plays about men.
Oh, wow.
There
So
are
you,
enough women out there who are writing plays about women. Somebody needs to tell the African American experience from the black man's perspective. So I had to step back and give props. But
so you're saying that
because
you saying that he played Levy?
no, I was asking August Wilson
Oh,
why. I never got a chance to ask him what was his personal struggle with God for him to put that in the piece.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because Levy had some issues with God. He really did.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you notice through August Wilson's series, there's that conflict always in place. The only play where you don't see that conflict is Fences. It's
Okay.
not even mentioned.
Yeah.
But if you go all the way back to Joe Turner and
Mm-hmm.
then go forward to Jimmy the Ocean,
Right.
God is always at the center of it. The only play he did where there was not an issue was that play.
Wow.
But I got a chance to
I
ask him, why did he write enough women? He was like, because somebody's already doing it.
yeah.
And he referenced me to Toni Morrison
Mm-hmm.
and
Who I love, by the
Susan
way.
Laurie Parks.
Yeah.
And he gave me a
Mhm.
lot of different sisters. He said, yeah, but nobody's telling our story from the man's point of view.
And
So
that's
he
true.
said, but go check out my play, Seven Guitars.
Mm-hmm.
When I left the Black Theater Festival, I went to DC and auditioned for that part. I didn't get cast, but I did go up.
I w okay, I was in that. Well, first I want to say about my brother. He wore Levy out. He actually got
I'm sure he did.
he got a write up in the paper about his performance. It was so good. He was he tore it
Mm.
up. And I have not gotten a chance to be on stage with my big brother yet, which I would love the opportunity to do. And
No doubt.
I'm definitely trying to figure out in one of these future screenplays I'm writing, I got to put him in. I got to get him in there somewhere so we can do something
Y'all
together.
can chop it up. Y'all can chop it up.
Yeah.
It is nothing like an actor who feeds you. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Because true acting is not about what's happening in the audience. You know that. It's about how y'all
Right.
feed off each other.
Hmm.
So I love a generous actor, somebody who has his through line, what he wants and what he's going to do to get it, and me being the counter. And somewhere in there, each other's getting fed
Right.
what they need to take that character off the page and really breathe life into it. I miss that process
Hmm. Yeah.
tremendously.
I remember when Katrina was playing my mother in the Amen Corner, and she came to me one night in between the acts, and she was like, "I really need you tonight," because she was like, "Well, I'll just put it this way, because I'm not going to badmouth anybody, but Miss June Thorne was not on that night, right? She wasn't on that
Mm.
night as Odessa. The other actress was on, and Miss June Thorne gave it up in the role, and
Yes, she did.
so the three of us, Katrina, Miss June, and myself, we're not afraid to put our emotions into it. But she was like, she wasn't getting anything from the other one who was playing the role. So she was like, I really need you. I really need you guys tonight, because she wasn't giving her anything to feed off of.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of this. You remember Edward Coley?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, he wrote this play called Time's Up back in 2001, which I was in, and I
I
played this.
remember that.
You came to see Time's Up?
I didn't see it, but I remember when he wrote it.
Okay, well, I was in that, and I was playing this quote unquote drug dealer, um, thug boy, troubled, and the woman that was playing my mother, God rest her soul, she died a few years ago too, LaFawn Holly, and
LaFawn died.
yeah, about
Oh.
was it about 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. 'Cause Mr. Artardis passed away also in 2019. Artardis
Yeah, I
Jenkins.
knew about Atardis
Yeah.
Jenkins. I knew about him.
Yeah, and so this play that we were doing, there's a scene in there where she's telling my character, his name was Horace Jackson Jr. She's supposed to be telling Horace that the man that he grew up thinking that was his father, who is now deceased, that he was close to, was not his biological father. She's
Mm.
telling she's telling him that, when she went to go visit her aunt and uncle as a teenage girl, like 16, 17 years old, she was raped by somebody. And she met the man that my character thought was his father shortly thereafter, and he still married her, even though she was pregnant. He still married her. So
Mhm.
she that's something that's really serious and deep and emotional to tell somebody that, first of all, I'm telling you that the man that you grew up loving as your father is not your biological father. Then I'm also telling you that you was conceived through a rape. And so
And I
that's
cap you.
yeah,
And I
and
cap you.
right. And so that's something hard to,
Oof.
yeah, that's something hard to hear. But the way that she was delivering those lines, and me and Edward talked about it, and another guy that was in the play was like, she was delivering those lines like she was talking about, going down to the corner store to get a bag of potato chips, right? She was delivering those lines in a matter of fact kind of way. She wasn't putting anything
Yeah.
to it.
She wasn't putting
And
anything into it.
yeah, and so I'm like, I'm on my own in this damn scene. I gotta, you know,
Mm.
I gotta, I gotta really concentrate deep to make myself feel what I need to feel in this scene because she's not giving me anything to play off of.
Mhm.
Because she talking about the fact that she was raped and she got pregnant with me, but she's saying it like in you know a blah
I
way and no
wonder how
feeling.
much of that triggered her, because that's a hard story to tell.
Oh yeah, I
And
know. Mhm.
unfortunately, a lot of us have gone through some level of abuse or another. So
Right.
it's something about our brain that will disconnect from that
I
story because,
mhm.
yeah.
I totally understand, which I talked about last night on the C note about this role that I was asked to learn at the last minute because someone dropped out. Well, they kept losing people in this one role. It was a play directed by
Mhm.
David Mitchell called Hoodoo Love back in 2018.
Mhm.
And that was the same time I was rehearsing for Ain't Misbehaving and I was rehearsing for another play under my theater company. So
Mhm.
he came to me like a week and a half to 2 weeks before Hoodoo Love was supposed to open and he asked me if I would do this role. And I'm like, well, I can't do it because I have a show that opens that same weekend, right? But my show only ran for 2 days, but their show was running for 4 weekends. So I was like, I can't,
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I can't do it because I have a show that opens that same weekend. And he's like, well, even though you can't do opening weekend, if we find somebody and they're not up to par, would you finish it out? I'm like, yeah, I'll help y'all out. So I went upstairs to rehearse for Ain't Misbehaving. And while I was up there, Mr. Owens came up there. He said, call Taze, make sure you see me before you leave. And so I went downstairs before I left to go home. And he said, well, look, we found somebody, but there's one date that he can't do, right? There's one date out of the 4 weekends that he can't do. And,
Mhm.
basically they wanted me to learn this role for that one day, and I agreed to do it. And they basically just told me it was a pastor, well, a young wannabe pastor in his 30s, and he had some troubles, and they wouldn't tell me what the troubles were, right?
Mhm.
And so I didn't look at the script right away because I had stuff going on already. And so when I finally did look at the script, I had one rehearsal with the cast. So when I finally did look at the script,
Ooh.
yeah, and I didn't know anybody in that play except for one person, and I really didn't have any dialogue with that one person that I knew already. But I'm looking at this script and I see this scene, because he goes to see his sister. His sister's not happy to see him, and then you find out why she's not happy to see him at the end of the first act. Well, the end of goes to the intermission. There's a scene that takes place in this play. It's a rape scene,
Mm.
and he rapes his own sister. Now,
Mm.
I said to David Mitchell, why didn't you tell me that this character commits rape, he raping his own sister on top of that? And he kind of laughed it off. He was like, I figured I'd let you figure it out. I figured I'd let you, discover that on your own, right? And so I'm like, why would? And so because I gave my word and said I was going to do it, I went through with it. But it was hard for me to play that
Mhm.
role because I've been through some stuff growing up. I was molested as a little boy, touched inappropriately and all that. So it was hard for me to play a rapist. But because I said that I was going to do it and they didn't have time to really find anybody else, I took myself through that. Now, like I said last night, because I'm playing this character, I couldn't just look at him as a disgusting person, a disgusting human being, because I'm
Oh my God, and that's the hard part
right,
because you can't judge this character,
right,
even though everything is so counter to who you are.
mhm. Yeah, and so
Oh,
I
that's
had to
the
try to
hard part
put my
about acting.
yeah, it was so, but in the story, that you never see their father, right? You never see their father, but their father is mentioned in the story. Now, as I told you, he was a wannabe preacher, and he looked up to his father. His father was a preacher. Now, he grew up seeing his father rape his sister,
Mm.
right? So
Mhm.
he learned that sick, disgusting behavior from his father,
Cause he saw it. Yeah.
right? And so he looked up to his father. And that's how I reconciled it in my mind because him and his sister's having this argument. He comes to her house drunk and he's upset because she got this new boyfriend and stuff like that. And they have this big argument and she's like basically telling him, you don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And she starts going in on their father, talking about how their father was no good and what he did. And he's like, don't you
Mhm.
talk. He's like, don't you talk about daddy like that. And when he says don't talk about daddy like that, he smacks her. And she falls on the bed. And then he gets on top of her and he proceeds to rape her. And this is something that's acted
Mhm.
out on stage. It's a simulated rape scene acted out on stage.
Wow. Wow.
And I had to take myself there. But when I came off that stage, it was intermission, thank goodness. But when I came off stage from doing that scene, I was in tears when I went backstage. And one of the sisters that was in the play, she saw me and gave me a hug because I was like, really, I had to take myself there and get to that character. But when I came off stage, I was in tears after doing that scene. Um,
No
so
doubt. No
yeah,
doubt. And see, there's something kind of unethical about doing it that way.
hmm
I remember, I don't know if you've ever heard the story about Last Tango in Paris, the movie.
no,
There was a rape scene in that movie as well, and the actress who was supposed to go through it, the director never told her until she was in the throes of it. Sister, the young
mm,
woman snapped.
wow, I
So
didn't
one
hear
of the
that.
first things I learned as an actor is you always take care of your fellow actor. And as a
hmm
director, that's extremely. I love David Mitchell. David Mitchell directed me in and Raising in the Sun.
hmm
So he's a brilliant director, but that's it's something very unethical about that.
Well, yeah, he
Did you?
he di- he directed.
Because one of the first things you learn how to do is to take care of each other as actors.
Yeah, I see. If I was directing something like that, I would definitely tell the actor up front that there's a rape scene in here, and are you comfortable with doing something like that, I wouldn't just let them read the script and discover it on their own. Um, and and
No,
and and, and,
no.
and I've been directed by David a few times myself. I was in the piano lesson in like
That was a good
2010.
one.
Thank you. And I was also you because you mentioned seven guitars earlier. I was in seven guitars. I played
Who'd
I
you
played
play?
I played Red Carter back in
Okay,
2014. I was Red Carter in
okay,
2014. And then he did Jitney, right? And
okay.
um and I was casting Jitney, but it's like I see him like keep trying to put me in the same types of roles because he wanted me to play that character Fielding, right? Who was a drunk hanging around the the jitney station, begging for money.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't want to do this. I mean,
Yeah, typecasting.
right. And so it's not like I waited until the last minute to tell him that. I told him in the beginning, right when rehearsal started, that I wasn't going to do that. I let him know
Mm-hmm.
up front. I didn't like rehearse for a few weeks and then drop out. I let him know up front that I wasn't going to do that. I wanted the opportunity to play what's his name, the son who was in prison for 20 years. The character
Ah,
who was in
I know
prison
who
for
you're
20
talking
years.
about.
Yeah, I wanted to play that role. I feel like I could have really
Well, that
gotten to
wasn't
that.
Sterling, was it? Was that Sterling Jr.?
The name of the character?
Yeah, I got the wrong play. I got all my August
No,
Wilsons mixed up.
Sterling was in Two Trains Running, I believe.
Yes, he was. Thank you.
This one's name start. I think his name started with a B or something, Booster or something like that.
Okay.
But anyway, I wanted the opportunity to play the son who was in jail for 20 years and came home,
Mm-hmm.
and the actor who played it, of course, he wore it out. He's a very talented actor, George Bunton. Um,
Mm-hmm. I
George
know
Bunton,
George.
Yeah, George Bunton is an excellent actor, of course, very powerful. He played the son, and Lewis Murray played the father, and of course, they're both awesome.
Ha!
Yeah,
Y'all. Yes, yes.
they're both
Y'all
awesome
had some
actors.
power hitters on stage.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I was like, I don't want to play this drunk, just sitting around begging for money. So I didn't do it that time. Hey,
Yeah.
and so uh, and so when it came
And
time,
sometimes you got to make those kinds of decisions. Because I remember when I did the Talented Tenth, up until that point, I was getting these little tiny fluff roles.
hmm
I was kind of like the tapestry. I wasn't the story. You know what I mean?
right,
I was kind of like the thread to pull
hmm
people together. So when I
yeah,
went up, um, and I had to make my argument on why I felt like I should be Tanya.
hmm
And I did. I made a very compelling argument. I'm telling my sisters in the community came after me because I didn't look like what they thought the other woman should look like. And I'm like, the other woman looks like whatever is opposite of going on
hmm
at home. Okay? It always is. So if you got your little slim thing sitting at home and she light and
right,
bright and whatever, whatever. Oh, he got Mother Africa on the side and she
right.
a thick 'em, and she know how to make good pot of greens.
All
So
right now.
all right, so let's dismantle that piece.
Oh yeah, well you know
But the
what?
main reason why but the part I really wanted to make is I wanted the meaning to understand I can handle meaty roles. I can
hmm
handle substantial roles. I can step outside of Jackie and be what you need me to be. Now, two things have to happen. You have to trust that I know how to analyze the script, and second, you got to trust that you trained me well
Right, that's right. I totally agree. She should trust her skills as an instructor, as a professor,
as an instructor and
definitely
as a director.
as a director,
Yeah.
and piggyback on that play Hoodoo Love right quick, and I'm gonna get back to that. They lost like three or four actors in that role on Hoodoo Love, and then he came to me 2 weeks before the show, or a week and a half before the show was supposed to open. Now I don't know if those actors kept dropping out because of that reason, but during the rehearsal process of that play with the guy rapes his sister, they had like three or four actors in that role that kept dropping out. Um, but anyway, and yeah, like I said,
Truth.
he didn't tell me. Did you sneeze? Oh,
I'm just like, it's overwhelming because it's like, wow,
yeah.
mm-mm.
He let me find out on my own that the character rapes his sister on stage and all that kind of stuff, and it was just crazy to me that he did that. But when I did the Soldier from the play, written by Walter Mosley, Strike Heaven on the Face, that Professor Courts
Yeah,
directed,
yeah, yeah.
and Mr. Ben Presbury came to see that show. And after the show, he was like, "Wow, where did all that range come from?" Right? And I'm like, "Well, I've always had that range. I don't always get offered those roles, but I
Cast.
get to show it,
Mm-hmm.
you know." So hey, but
Sometimes you
what?
got to switch directors. As much as I love
Yeah,
Amini, at some point I had to work with other folk. Number
hmm,
one, because I needed to learn what it was like to work with other people.
yeah, that's important.
And I needed to break out of that. I
Hmm.
need you to see me bigger than that.
Right.
So, for all intents and purposes, even though she was the main director at Coppin, and I had already worked with her 17 years before that,
Hmm.
one of the blessings of going to graduate school was the fact that I had to work with other people, and my range had to stretch. Even in the roles that I didn't like necessarily to do, I had to go dig
Hmm.
and find, my justification for playing whomever. But
Right.
when it came time for evaluation, if it was a role I didn't like, I definitely spoke up, and basically like, are you serious?
Mhm.
Here we are in the 2000 teens and y'all still really?
Yeah,
Okay, so y'all not
trying to
used to
push these
working with
things.
black folks, and that's why I'm here.
Hmm. You
You
got to let
know,
them know. You got to let them
boo.
know.
Do you not know? Do you not understand?
Right.
So yeah,
Make them understand. So how soon will you
yeah,
have?
you have to.
Most definitely, always. And I definitely want us to work together again at some point. Definitely, because I was telling you back in 2010 that I wanted to have a create a role for you in one of my film projects one of these days, and I still mean
I
that.
remember you
So,
sharing, and right after that, I think just before that, I had left to go to UW because
yeah.
I left Baltimore in 2009.
Hmm. Yeah. I still feel that way. It's gonna happen. Um,
Okay,
and
okay, some stuff can happen.
oh yeah, we're gonna make that happen. So how
Some
soon?
stuff can happen.
Most definitely. So when you gonna have up the Jackie's Gems page?
You really got me thinking that's something I need to work on.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
You should.
yeah, just a whole separate page that just features my
Hmm.
creations.
It's very important to do
And
that.
there's
Yeah.
so many more on there that I have not posted that,
Hmm.
yeah, that deserves a showcase.
Yes, most
But
definitely.
right now, until like I said, until we get this postal piece together, they
Hmm.
really need to get rid of the
All you can
joy.
do is
But
locally right now. All you can do is just locally
yeah, I
for now
have to
until that.
because I am not willing to risk my reputation
Oh no,
and
you
sending
shouldn't.
less than my best. You
Hmm.
know.
Right, right. But that whole postal thing will get better again, and then you'll be able to ship off
Yeah,
little
well,
bits.
and when it does, and look, I got boxes in the closet. I got which comes over here,
Right.
and like I said, when it was working, it was really working. I was sending at least 4 or 5 cakes out of here weekly.
Hmm. Wow.
But like I said, after the election, stuff went left, and I'm like, I'm not willing to risk. I'm not willing to put anybody's health at risk, and I'm not willing to risk my reputation as a businesswoman.
Right.
To
Of course, that comes
mm-mm,
first. That comes first. Customer safety and all that, and your reputation. Definitely,
mm-hmm.
definitely. But thank you, Miss Jackie Terry. It's been so great talking to you. I know we've been on here for a while. I'm going to be saving
Have
this.
we?
Yes,
Wow,
yes.
we have. Woo!
But it's been a great conversation. We covered a lot of ground, definitely, and I definitely want to
We
have you on here.
did.
Definitely want to have you on here again. To feature Jackie's Gems when you get that page up and everything. Um,
That's what's up.
we definitely gonna do that. And I love you, my sister. Thank you for being. And you're welcome on here anytime. And we definitely gonna work
Thank you for
together. And
having
then,
me. Thank you for
yeah,
having me.
you're welcome. I got 3 more to do this week. Three more
Yeah, I
episodes
know. I know I'll
because
definitely be there for Troy.
yeah, because I'm on here tomorrow with a brother from New York who's an internationally known actor and director and filmmaker, all that. And then on Thursday is my sister Tamika Addison, who also said she was
Yeah, I
involved.
know. I know of
You
the
know
sister.
Tamika?
I know of her work. It ain't. You
Yeah.
know what? There's 6 degrees. It's supposed to be with everybody else. It's kind of like 3.5 with us.
Uh-huh.
Because if we don't know you, we know your homegirl. We know your homeboy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect example. When Chadwick Boseman died, I did not realize he was friends with the guy that played my my brother-in-law in the Amen Corner. His name is Greg Reed. They both were going to
Mm-hmm.
Howard at the same time, and he had to remind me that
Hmm.
I had met Chad when he was still at Howard.
Wow. You remember my cousin?
So
Remember my cousin, Eric Anthony
yes,
from the youth theater? You didn't know he was my cousin?
I didn't. EB Ants.
Yeah, that's my cousin, my blood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he got to work with Chadwick Boseman because when Chadwick passed, he posted a picture of them together from a play that they were in together.
Mm. I
Yeah,
did not know y'all was family.
yeah, that's my
I
blood.
did not know y'all was family.
Oh
EB
yeah,
been doing a lot of work.
a
I've been
lot of great
following him
work.
closely too. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, he's been on Broadway and everything, and been nominated for awards and stuff like that, and he's doing really
See,
great.
him
Very
and
proud of
Jonathan
him.
Burke. Him and
Oh yeah.
Jonathan Burke.
Hmm.
They repping us lovely. They repping Baltimore lovely.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
proud of them. I'm really proud of them.
So am I. Totally proud. Top proud to call him my family, my blood. That's what I'm saying right
I know
there.
that's right. I know that's right.
But thank you
Well,
so much,
thank you for
Jackie.
having me. Thank you for having me.
Always,
And for
always.
everybody I haven't spoke to already, hi, I love you. Mahogany, the cakes is coming. Let's get that post office thing straight. And Odessa, I love you. Thank
All
you.
right.
And
I
thank you for water from a broken glass.
all right.
Powerful work.
All right, my sister. I love you and talk to
Okay.
you soon. All
Real
right.
soon.
Okay.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Bye-bye. Hey y'all. That was a great episode with Jackie Terry, extraordinaire, actress, writer, director, pastry chef. And be sure to be on the lookout for her page, Jackie's Gems, featuring her pastries, her desserts, and so forth. And for the post office to open up so she can start shipping off some of those things when you want to order her great desserts and so forth. And tomorrow I will be back on Wednesday, April the 14th at 6:30 p.m. right here with Mr. Nathaniel J. Ryan, who is an internationally known actor, director, filmmaker, director, athlete, and so forth. And then on Thursday, I will be here at 6:30 with Tamika Addison, who is an actress, the writer, director, seamstress, hairstylist, and minister. And then on Friday, none other than the legendary Mr. Troy Burton at 5:30 p.m. on Friday. And that will be my season finale for season one. And then I'm going to be taking off for a couple of months with that and maybe do a couple of impromptu shows here and there, featuring what's coming up with my next film project. But I'll see you tomorrow right here on the C Note, 6:30 p.m. with Nathaniel J. Ryan. Bye now. Love you, family.